Welcome back to A Game of Fangs and Thorns. My name's Hannah, and this is episode 4, I think, of By 9, Read 1. So I have my 9 here. I think there is a Kindle book as well, but we'll just dive right in. 2, 4, 6, 8. I seem to have miscounted. Bear with me here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have 9. I don't think I've missed a video. But these are the books. They're all physical books. Read for this episode. The books are primarily from either Aurelium or the start of Book Uplathon. So we're just going to dive right in. So I'll do it in order that I've wrote them down. I think that's probably better. So we have the Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. This is book 2 of the Broken Earth trilogy that started with the 5th season. I really enjoyed this one. Do I have my rating? Yes, and it is 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a great follow-up to the first book. If you don't know, in the 5th season, the world is out to get everyone, and it was told in 3 alternative perspectives. We pick up with one of the perspectives in this one, and I can't really tell you too much because obviously sequel and I don't want to follow anything, but this one follows one or two particular perspectives. One we already know, and the other we kind of figure out as the book goes on, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. I do have the Stone Sky somewhere on the TBR trolley behind me, so I will be getting around to that one and finishing off the trilogy. Next was If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. At the time of reading, I gave this 5 stars because I thought it was very interesting how the main characters seemed to portray the characters that they were always sort of typecast as this follows 5 students in a prestigious, an elite conservatory, so an acting school, and they quote Shakespeare at each other. Now I think the characters were just pretentious, but that could be the whole point of this, because these characters there was something unlikable about them, but at the same time there was something very endearing, especially Oliver, who is the one who took the fall for the murder of his classmate. And it's told in two alternate timelines: in the present, which is 10 years after the fact, when Oliver's getting out of prison, and then he's recounting the story of what actually happened 10 years ago to Detective Colborne, and that's the other timeline. So we get the here and the now and the there and then, and it was interestingly done. I did enjoy it, but I don't think I'm going to stick with that 5-star rating though. I think I'll probably drop it to 2 or 4 because I just didn't really I was intrigued, but more so to find out what actually happened rather than anything else. So it's a 4-star, and I can only remember Oliver and Richard. Oliver is the perspective, Richard is one of his friends. Then we had Alice by Christina Henry, and this was definitely a 5-star. It was just the right amount of spooky, dark whimsy. Alice in Wonderland is one of my favourite classics, if not the only favourite classic, and I loved I love the retellings because they tend to take a darker twist on it. And this one is the start of a series. In this, Alice is in a mental institution. Her cellmate, her next door neighbour as it were, is the Mad Hatter. And in this world you have the haves and the have-nots. Alice was a have until something happened one night and she got attacked and has amnesia about the event, which lent her to be in a hospital in the old city. There is a fire one night, so she decides it's time to escape. She takes her chances, but then something else has escaped with her, and it is up to Alice and the Hatter character, because I've forgotten his name, to get the world back to rights. And it's very seedy, but in a good way. It's dealing with the seedy underbelly of the country. We have the walrus character, who was terrifying. We have the Hatter, the white rabbit, who I don't think we actually met in this one. We might meet him in Red Queen. But we have Dormouse. That was an interesting take. So yeah, 5 stars. Christina Henry's books are very unsettling rather than scary, because you think, especially Girl in Red, there is definite this could happen, and this was no exception. I think this one came first, but I am on the lookout for Red Queen, just the sequel. So I mentioned 5 stars. Then we have technically a reread, but in a different format. So we have 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. It's got 5 stars. Absolutely loved it on a second read. I listened to this first on audio and then bought the book. But this is obviously the first in the 6 of Crows duology, following Kaz and his unlikely allies as they try to break into the Ice Court and save the day. I love this. I forgot how many twists and turns there were in it, and how much unrequited and pining, and so good. And then next one was The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea, and I gave this a 4.5. I just found Flora a little bit confusing to read about, because this character is pretending to be a boy at sea and falls in love with one of the passengers on the Dove, which is a pirate ship. Nobody knows that until it's too late, because the captain takes highborn passengers, and then in the middle of the sea kind of mutinies against them. But I did enjoy it. I did think it was sweet, but there was just some elements that were very confusing, and I didn't quite get why things were happening the way they were. I think it is a beautiful story. I just think there's too much going on. So 4.5. Then we have a 3-star, which is unfortunate, and that is Agatha Christie's Peril at End House. Though I don't want to spoil this one because it is okay. It's just not an enjoyable read. I won't reread it, which is a shame because I do like the Poirot books. But it's got a 3-star. If you've read it, you'll probably know what I mean by this, but the murderer just seemed to appear out of nowhere, and I didn't understand the villain or the motive or anything like that. And yes, I know I don't read mysteries and try to solve them at the same time, but it just wasn't there. It just didn't seem to do it. So unfortunately, that one's gone back to the charity shop. Another one that's going to the charity shop is The Secrets Act by Alison Weatherby. This got a 3-star. Let's see if my sister wants this one actually. But this follows Pearl and Ellen, who are working as code breakers in Bletchley Park, and they get embroiled in a spy plot. And yes, okay, there is an element of danger in this, but it just didn't pick up for me until the second half. And again, the villain seemed, I just didn't understand the villain's motivations. So a 3-star for this one, unfortunately. Then we have 2 more. We have Tamare by Naomi Novik, and this should be no surprise to anyone, but it's a 5-star. It has an intelligent talking dragon. Do I need to say more? Okay, but this is set in an alternative Napoleonic war with dragons. And the Air Force is dragon riders, and these dragons are intelligent. And we follow Tamare, who is just so cute for being a 10-ton flying wall of death. But the relationship he has with Will, or Lawrence, is as his handler, is just so sweet. Because at first Lawrence doesn't want the dragon. He's happy being a captain of the navy, because becoming a dragon rider means giving up everything, but it's also an honour, and you tend to be like a legal outlaw, shall we say. The rules of propriety and courtesy and most of the laws don't apply to you, but for that you give up everything. So it's a bit of a catch-22, and obviously Lawrence doesn't want to do it. But after capturing Tamare's egg, Tamare hatches, and Lawrence is the one to put the harness on him, which essentially means they've bonded. And just Tamare knows that this wasn't the life that Lawrence originally had planned, and there are quite a few instances where Tamare is just like, oh, well, if you want to go back to the navy, I don't mind, I'll find someone else. And Lawrence is like, no. And it's just so cute and sweet. And yes, it is bloody and gory at the same time. And this is Naomi Novik's debut, I believe. And I actually like this one better than the other ones. But I think that's just because this is dragons and it's more of a conventional style than, say, The Last Scholomance. And then the last book is Summoner by Taran Matthew. I'm giving this 3 stars. It's not the same 3-star as, say, Peril at End House or The Secrets Act, because I did enjoy it. I just thought it was run-of-the-mill YA fantasy, and it seemed to follow the same plot, but it is a middle book and they are hard. But I am still intrigued about reading The Battle Mage, and then if I like The Battle Mage, I'll probably pick up The Outcast, which is the prequel. And with that, the book I'm picking for this episode is Flying Over Me, Aurora's End by J. Christoph and Amy Kaufman. This is the finale to the Aurora Rising cycle. Again, can't talk too much about it because it's a finale. But in this, we follow Squad 312, who are sort of the ragtag, the misfits of the elite space academy. Their leader had pick of the bunch at graduation, but he ended up receiving a distress call, meaning he was late to graduation and got what was left, the dregs. But on that distress call, he found Aurora, and Aurora has been in cryosleep for like the last however long, and she's the last survivor from the original expedition from Earth. And when she wakes up, she has some interesting powers, and it is just funny and sweet, and a space opera. I don't know what else to say, but I have really enjoyed the other 2. And I think with that, that's the end of this video. So give it a like if you like it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this and talk about these. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.